Yo, yo, I'm live. Amazing picture, bro. What was the picture? Was it what's up, drunkie, by the way? How's it going, man? What was the picture? Was it I've never told this story about he's right here. There's kind of shadows, but he's the walker, man. The walker. I wanted a stick figure tattoo, and I was telling my buddy about it, my good friend, my dear old friend Bryce, who's moved to London, and I never see him anymore. I wanted a picture of a stick man, real simple. I don't like colored tattoos, too much color on human flesh. I just was always into the black and white tattoos. And so I wanted one. I'm like a stick figure with a guitar and a cowboy hat, and he grabs a old pack of cigarettes that was lying on the table. Not mine. And he sketched it out on the back. And he's like this? And I was like, yeah, maybe exactly like that. And I grabbed it and I put it in my pocket. And, the next day I kind of forgot about it. I woke up, put my coat on, and it's in the pocket. And I go, you know what? This is it. I'm going to go this is the tattoo, what my buddy drew. And I went in, and the only thing I changed was my buddy kind of drew it with a frowny face. And so I made the cowboy like a little happier, a little more joyful. So thank you, Bryce, and now I use it for everything. You know what, drunk? You're right. It's hip. Yeah, oh, SD, what up, Rhino? You just called me right as I was hitting the go live button. And so I hit go live and then hung up on you. Hey, Addie, what's going on? How you doing? Hey, you should be in bed. Don't you have school tomorrow? I think your mom's driving my daughter to school in the morning. My wife's been sick since Thursday. It stinks. Probably the flu. I don't know. We don't know. Probably the flu. And so I've been on full duty with 3 kids, nonstop since Thursday. Oh, you were getting on my case about being late. Thank you. I was late. But you know what? My camera actually works this time. And let me know if that sounds okay. Is that guitar too loud? Yo. I'll start with a song. I played the same song last time, but I don't care because it's the only one I've really been playing. So I'm going to play it again. And I haven't been rehearsing much. I know it is sad that Jane is sick. It is sad. But hopefully everyone else, it doesn't spread. Because we did see a whole bunch of people on Thanksgiving. And then her brother was starting to feel a little bit under the weather. So far I'm all right, knock on wood. This is wood, isn't it? But guys, we'll talk some music theory today. That's what's on the agenda. We'll talk songwriting and music theory. Guitar could be a tad louder. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I feel like that's gonna be too loud. Jump in the car and head to the east, a break from the coast, a fast from the beast, wandering back to where your daddy resides. Headed on yonder to the mountainside. There's a city of man and a city of God, a city of hope and a city of fall, a hardened man made of mud and clay. Yet another that lives past the 7th day. Double the fun shooting your gun, having a drink under the midnight sun. Me and my dad back together again, looking like God made man. I said, double the fun shooting your gun, having a drink under the midnight sun. Me and my dad back together again, looking like God made man. I made my dollar in Babylon, built my tower and I babbled on. Heavens broke in the pouring rain. My daddy ain't know it, but he still can pray. Now long in the pain, stiff in the neck, I remember your words on our old back deck. His kingdom come, his will be done. There ain't no doubt in the Lord, my son. Double the fun, shooting your gun, having a drink under the midnight sun. Me and my dad back together again, looking like God made men. I said, double the fun, shooting your gun, having a drink under the midnight sun. Me and my dad back together again, looking like God made men. I said, me and my pop in a big hot pot, picking at bones and skipping stones, singing the songs that we've always known, peeking at God through the great unknown. Double the fun, shooting your gun, having a drink under the midnight sun. Me and my dad back together again, looking like God made men. We're looking like God made man. It looks like God made man. Amen. I'm thinking of ending it this way in the actual recording. Looking like God made man. All right. Enough of that. All right. Before we talk theory, T says, which song is this? T, it is a song I wrote. I don't know what it's called. It was inspired by SD, who's also in the chat. He's pretending to hide out. He's a dear friend of mine. Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, thank you, Rise Up. I appreciate it, man. Blaze ended a song like that. Did he really? I don't know that one. Which one is it? Genius minds think alike. I swear I'm not stealing it from Blaze. What song is that? 100% THC. No, I'm high on life, man. That's the supply. High on my own supply. All right. I don't engage in said narcotics. To be quite honest, I get incredibly paranoid and uncomfortable. Sorry, I'm getting texts, and I know I'm live streaming with y'all, but I want to make sure my wife is alive in bed. Yeah, and she said, "Did you ever lock up the chickens?" Yes, I did. We've got 14 birds, and if I didn't lock them up, they would be eaten by raccoons for sure. I live in Pittsburgh, actually just north of Pittsburgh, but 10 minutes north of the city. I grew up in Chicago and then went to college. I was out on the West Coast for a while in San Francisco, and then Austin, Texas for 5 or 6 years. But my wife is from Pittsburgh, so when we decided to have kids, it was closer to the homes, left the down south. Oh no, is that a chicken and a raccoon? I really hope I locked them up. I think I did. Springtime in Uganda, I think it's a hilarious song, and I crack up every time I listen to it. You know what? As much as I cover Blaze songs, you guys are gonna yell at me. But I don't even know all his recordings, and I know he doesn't have that many, but I don't know why that is. I for some reason I'll listen to him, but I feel like a youngin' because I'll just listen on YouTube. I don't have the albums, is what I'm saying. Dude, Pittsburgh is for the cost, it's great. Am I in love with it? No, but I prefer it to Chicago for sure. I just don't like big cities anymore. And I could poo-poo on Chicago all day. I'm not really a big fan of it. It's too big and concrete, and I don't like it. Yeah, Pittsburgh's cool. But as I get older, I'm just kind of over the cities, and we're a little bit outside, but I just want to keep getting further and further. Right now I have chickens in another life. I want to be a cattleman. I want to have cows. I don't think I'm man enough in this life to do that. I want to get goats, but then you got to milk them twice a day. And that's a real responsibility. You're watching from Colombia. Freaking A, man. That's awesome. I've never been. That sounds rad. All right, guys. Do you want to talk theory today? Does anyone have questions, or like, are they stuck with any songs you're stuck on, any guitar concepts you're stuck on, or anything I can help with? You can suck on, I don't know what that means. Cyber Wizard 777 777. Are you into Crow 777 Radio? That's a great channel. Springtime in Uganda. Kill two birds with one stone. I don't know what we're talking about, but you know what they say in German is you can kill two flies with one flap. That's what my German student just told me. I'm watching now from Turkey. It's 4 a.m. What up, SC? Unbelievable. I've actually been to Turkey. Let me tell you my Turkey story, and then we'll talk songwriting. All right, Green, Monalishi. I'm getting distracted by the chat. Turkey. Me and my wife went to Istanbul, and we also went to Cappadocia, and it was unbelievable. We had a great time. This was several years ago. Pre-kids, so at least 7 years ago. And I'm embarrassed because this was before I was a Christian. I was an agnostic, maybe even an atheist at this time. And we went to Cappadocia. And in hindsight, you know, we went into the caves. If you guys don't know about it, it's where Christians were like fleeing, Muslims and the Christians for a while there, and maybe still today, but not really. You guys respect Jesus, so serious props to the Muslims. But I was there and I didn't respect it at all. I went into these like amazing caves that the Christians had like hid out in and carved these just beautiful paintings and carvings in them. And, you know, the Desert Fathers, a lot of Cappadocians in the Eastern kind of Byzantine Christian tradition that are just amazing. And, you know, I didn't care at the time. I don't want to say I regret it, but I am kind of. But that's how life works, you know? It's a journey. It is a journey. I'm into that show, by the way. Oh, you are? Cyber Wizard. Crow kills it. He crushes. To say the words of another famous, podcaster. Crushing, keep crushing, Cyber Wizard. Got any tips for getting that first and second string bar on the thumb over F chord? Yeah, I think I made a video. You could look up that damn F chord, or it's called Are Bar Chords Overrated? Rise Up. I think that's what it's called. Are Bar Chords Overrated? And then just search that with Mike's music method next to it, and I talk about how like you don't always have to play the whole F chord. So to like go through this, you might just, you might sometimes play it like this. Sometimes you can do the inside 4 strings where it's just nothing on the top E, and then 1, 2, 3, 3, and you can play it that way. You don't even need your thumb. And if a picking calls for the 6th string, you can play the 5th, and sometimes that'll work. The way I'm doing the thumb, and I do remember it being hard at first, is my thumb's over the top, and just don't even add the other fingers yet. Do that first finger. Make sure it's comfortable. So I will say this is what I'm noticing. When I normally play a bar chord, I'm typically not straight on, but I'm towards the outside of my finger. So if you watch my elbow, I'm like exaggerating, but instead of being straight on, I'm kind of rolling my finger out a little bit. But when I do the thumb over the top, yeah, that is a bit more difficult to do. So the bar does feel different. And notice too, like normally my hand's not touching the back of the guitar neck, but when I do that, like I am grabbing it and squeezing, right? The sensation is like I'm gripping the guitar neck, so I'm squeezing, but not a lot, right? It's not like I'm putting a ton of pressure on the thumb. I don't know if these are really tips. It's hard. I get this question a lot, but it's hard because everyone's got a different guitar they're using and everyone's hands are like a different shape. And check this out. This is ridiculous. I should have like this thumb should be in Coca-Cola commercials. Look how straight that thumb is. Right? Some people have the crazy joint where it like almost goes backwards. Look at that. This is an award-winning thumb right here. Award-winning. No, you don't got a thumb like that. So I don't know. I'm barring. My thumb's going over the top. These two go down. I hope that helps. I don't know if it does. If anyone else has helpful tips, because I learned this when I was like a teenager, so it's really hard to put myself in the shoes of someone who's like going through it now, because to be honest, I don't really remember that much about how I did it. All right, there's all sorts of chats. Let me catch up on the chat here. Got any tips? That's what I just answered. Not a theory question, but if you could break down Muscoma, Daddy Daycare, DVD, what? That'd be awesome. What? I don't even know what that means. Muscoma. Whoa, what? Is that the name of a band? Daddy Daycare in the band. All right. Yeah, maybe we'll get to that. I'll pull it up. Wow, it's so cool. I don't know. What are you talking about, SC? What's so cool? I don't remember. That you're tuning in from Turkey or Cappadocia is so cool. Because it was. Do you write songs with chords first, usually, or melody? Yeah, good question. Usually the chords, but let's talk about all that right now. SC, actually, I think not overrated. Using thumb is so hard. Yeah, I know. I like to hear the root note too. But you get over it. You get over it quick. Like listen to this. This is like a G major 7 chord. Man, this guitar's not saying. No, I was screwing around with the whammy bar. And it fell out of tune. I think that, not that I'm telling you to listen to jazz, but the more you play chords that aren't in root position, the more you just kind of appreciate them and come to enjoy the sound of them. Like for example, like the C chord with the G in the bass. It's just got like a beautiful emotional quality to it that you don't get when you're just playing everything in root position. But back to that G major 7, you can put the B in the bass. You get these really beautiful sounds. Or with the D in the bass. And then it's weird with the F sharp in the bass, but that one's kind of rough. But inversions are great. Get used to them. Okay. So songwriting, let's talk about that. I typically use my guitar as a crutch, but I've songwritten both ways, but because I've been a guitar player longer than a songwriter and a guitar player longer than a singer, my approach is just to go, it's usually simple chords, right? We're all here because we like folk music, right? So, and T, I'll get to that song later. Let's talk songwriting first. So that's what's cool. What's great about learning the 1-4-5. So if anyone isn't familiar just with the 1-4-5, put a no in the chat, just so you know, should I be talking about this or not? Do you know what a 1-4-5 is? It's the Roman numeral system for chords in a key. And the reason that's valuable is because so many songs, even if you're in a different key, use the same chord progressions. And that's because they offer good harmonies. So, and that's also why guys use a capo, right? Like if you think of, a progression, a 1-4-5 progression. Yeah, exactly. Young Party. Carl Jung. Pasty. I can't read. It's too small. So again, a 1-4-5 in the key of G is G, C, D. Now, as a guitarist, you don't have to know the 1-4-5s and all the different keys because we just throw a capo on. So if I throw the capo on the 3rd fret, right? As a guitarist, we still think like, I'm just playing G, C, D higher, which is fine. It's a fine cheat and it's easy. But here we're actually doing B flat, E flat, F. Right? Did I say that right? Yeah. B flat, E flat, F. And that's a 1-4-5. So just by moving your capo, you can get a 1-4-5 in all the different keys. And the 1-4-5, without going like too deep into theory, it's just like each one of those chords. I wish I could like whiteboard with y'all. Can I do this? Present. Let's see if I can do this. I'm not going to be able to see you guys for a moment, but I'll come back. Let's share a Brave tab, my new tab. Can you guys see this? I think you can. I'll just go to a Google Doc here. Boom, 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 boom. So when you think of, let's do this. We'll do it in the key of C because it's the easiest. First off, a half step in music. Half step is 1 fret. I promise this will tie into songwriting soon. A whole step is a W and it's 2 frets. And all major scales follow this pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Right? So what does that mean? Yes, we can. You guys, what? Yes, we can. What? You know what a 1-4-5 is? You can see. Oh, you can see the screen. I got USC. I think I followed them. All right. So whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half. So what does that mean? If you have the note C and you go a whole step, you can just do it on your guitar. A whole step's 2 frets. So we go up from C. That's C sharp D. Another whole step. D sharp E. Another whole step. Or sorry, whole, whole, half. We're at F. Another whole. G. Another whole, G sharp A, another whole, A sharp B, and then a half step, and we're back at C. So that, now you can do this for every key. I'm not saying do that because it's time consuming. How do I stop the share? Stop sharing. Yeah, so I don't recommend you do that because you can just search this, right? Just go to whatever search engine and you can find, all the notes and all the keys. Is it helpful to memorize them? I don't know. It depends what exactly you're doing. Maybe, maybe not. Again, cost benefit. You have to weigh your time. If you're doing jazz, of course. If you're doing folk, no, you don't have to know them. But if you have those, we have that. Let me go back to sharing. I do this in my lesson all the time, but I'm not super hip to StreamYards yet and how this works. All right, so those are my notes. And this is how it works in any major key. If, let's say each one of these is a scale degree, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and we're back where we started, right? The 8th note is the first note again. Now, to represent chords, we do them as Roman numerals. First chord 1's a C major, the 2 chord, the 3 chord. Now you'll notice, if you're new to this, this is all Roman numerals, and I can do uppercase and lowercase, which you probably didn't learn that in school, but we do that with music. And now the way I'm writing all these chords out is, think of it like this. You're building a chord based on thirds because that's the prettiest, simplest, most kind of like consonant sounding harmony, right? If you were to stack seconds together, it would be like playing C, D, and E at the same time. That's an E, sorry. It just becomes like a chord cluster. Right, so you want to spread them out, and thirds are beautiful ways to stack chords. So we take the C to build a C chord, we skip a note, an E, so that's a major third. Then we skip the F and we get a G. So C, E, G gives us a quality which is C major. And the reason, another way to think about it is, look, this distance between C to E is 2 whole steps, which is a major third. And then this distance between E to G is actually only a whole and a half. So that distance is a minor third. So a major chord is your note X. Then you stack a minor third on it to your note X. Then you stack, major third, then a minor third, and you get to your last note. So you got a root note, you go up a major third, that's your second note, and then you go up a minor third, and that's your third note. In the case of C, it's C, E, G, and that's your major formula. Now the reason D is minor is because if you look here, D skip to F, what distance is that? Oh, that's only a whole and a half, that's 1 1/2. So the minor chord actually starts with the, whatever note you start on, then the minor third is first. And you get to your next note. And then here, F, skip G and go to A. F to A is 2 whole steps. So now we have the major third. Right? Another way to think about it is it's 4 frets or 3. And so it's this combination of minor and major thirds that give us these different triads, right? You get a major triad or a minor triad depending the distance between those notes. And if you guys have questions, ask away, and I'll go back to the chat in a second. So I'm just going to run through these. Now, this last one has a little star after it because it's a different kind of triad. It's a diminished. The reason it's diminished is because B to D, I'd have to write it again for you to see it, but trust me that it's a half and a whole to get to the D, so that's a minor third. And then look, D to F, that's a whole and a half. It's another minor third. So we got a minor third stacked on top of a minor third. And that gives us the B diminished. Now this 1, 2, 3, this Roman numeral system is gonna look different in different keys, but just the letters are gonna be different, right? So example, let's just do G because it's the next one, G, A, B, C, D. So they're different letters, but guess what? The formula is still the same. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So the 1, 4, 5 are the 4 major chords in any major key. And that's one of the reasons they're used so often, but they also contain all these different notes, right? Like a C chord is C, E, G, an F chord is F, A, C, and then a G chord is G, B, D. So what note didn't we cover? Look, if I look at those 3 chords, I have an A, I have a B, I have a C, I have a D, I have an E, I have an F, I have a G. So in other words, we have every possible, like any note I'm singing in the scale, I'll be able to find that note in the 1 chord, the 4 chord, or the 5 chord. So that's another way to think about it. Those 3 chords actually cover every possible melody note I might be singing. And you can almost always simplify any melody to just play a 1, 4, 5 over it. You don't need the other chords. I'm not saying to never use them, but that's always like an interesting way to think about it. Or you can write your song as 1, 4, 5 and then substitute. And that's when things start to get fun. Like if you have a melody that you know has a note G in it, and let's say you were going like da 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 da. It's like, okay, that works. I know I ended on the G, so I played a G chord, but I could play a different note that has the G in it. Like E minor, for example, has the note G in it. So it could be da da da, way darker. And this is cool. This is called reharmonizing. Another note that has the G in it is the C. Here, let me do this so you guys can actually see me. Ya da da, ya da da. And then I can do like an A minor 7 because that also has a G in it. Da da da. Or you can get real weird and pick a note outside of the key. Da, da, da. Or I took a chord outside of the key that has a G in it. So there's all sorts of fun ways to reharmonize, but let me see if you guys are totally lost or if this is making sense. Definitely helpful info, thanks. This is harder than rocket science, bro. All I showed you is you had to either count by 3 or by 4, right? And if you laid it out on the guitar, I promise you it would be easier. Like if you do a C chord and you do those whole steps, so I said whole, half, whole, half. So C, you go up to D because it's 2 frets. Another whole step is 2 frets. Then the half step, whole, half. C major scale, C, I go up 4 frets. That's my major third. That's an E. Then I just go up 3 frets. C, E, G. That's a major chord. If it was minor, it'd be the other way. It'd be C up 3 frets and then up 4. I know, if you were in the room, I could explain it to you. I know, I don't know my audience here, so I know it can be difficult. As a beginner, dim chords are killing me. I like the sound of diminished chords, but I can't find a place in my progressions. Ooh, okay, that's a great question. We can hit up that theory one. I sing like an angel. Thank you, Drunky. Yeah, let's do this, Columbia. So, I will keep going. All right. Let's talk about diminished chords really quick. This is fun. Just gathering my thoughts here. Typically, the way a diminished chord is used is it's on the 7th scale degree, right? So if we're in the key of C, it's on the leading tone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's really unstable. Even that note itself, it's like a torture device. You know what I mean? Like if you're just to hear this, and not given the final note. So here's the diminished. I'm going to play it as a half diminished just because I like the sound of it better. But I'm just adding one more note to the diminished. So that's a B diminished, half diminished, or minor 7 flat 5. And it wants to resolve to a C. So you could be like C, F, B diminished. So that B diminished functions the same as the 5 chord. And the reason that is the 5 chord being a G, right? So the G chord contains that B. That B wants to resolve up to the C. It wants to go up. So that's why that 5 to 1 is so satisfying, because you have that leading tone that wants to go back there. And you also, there's other elements too, I'm not going to go into all of it. You also have a fifth. A fifth is a super strong cadence, right? Do, do, just a classic sound. 5, 1, but you also have that 7, 1. Both of those elements want to pull you back home. So the diminished works the same way, right? You hear that tug. So a lot of music is that. It's a great way to frame your songwriting. And when you listen to songs, this is really cool, is it's like storytelling. You probably learned about this in like 7th grade about a story where there's tension or conflict and then resolution. So you have like tension, release, conflict, resolution, question, and then an answer. In some soloing, you can even frame that way. Like there's this cool thing about the pentatonic scale. Let's just do like G minor pentatonic. There's my home, right? It's G. I'm in G minor. So if I can end on any note that isn't G. There's a question. And then it's answered. So I'm just playing anything in between, and I'm going to end not on a G. Question. And then I'm going to end on a G. And that's a great, once you know that, it's like super helpful in terms of songwriting and improvising. And you're taking listeners on a journey, right? You're not just like randomly. Right, so I teach a bunch of students, and that's the most common mistake, is to like noodle aimlessly. But once you know these kinds of tricks of like, oh, I'll set up a question and then I'll answer it. And even though no one knows that one's not a chord tone or not in the chord or not the root, your ear cannot help but hear it that way. And so that's what music theory is. It's I don't want to say understanding, but music theory is like trying to create a framework or a language for why these things are intuitively happening to our ears. But the real answer is we have no frickin' idea why, right? We create these theories. That's why it's called music theory. It's like the theory of gravity, right? What is gravity real? What is gravity? Mass attracts mass, huh? But what is it? It's just something heavy attracting something else. But what's the force? What's like the thing actually happening on it? We don't know. We're just kind of like speculating on why we think certain things happen. If we're at, maybe it's just buoyancy, why I'm floating to the ground. But we're not getting into flat Earth today, okay? That's for another stream. I was singing. Let me keep going with who's the boss? And you were answering, I am. Yes, that's exactly right. Who is the boss? Who's the boss? I am. MFer. So diminished chords. 7 wants to go to 1. But here's where it gets cool, SC. You can use what's called like a secondary diminished chord. But just think of it this way. I can because the way a diminished chord, your ear works, is it wants to go up a half step, right? B to C. But dude, you could tease that anywhere. So let's say my progression is C, F, G. For a moment, I'm just going to put a diminished right before that G. So I have C, F. Now we'll do an F sharp diminished. And so what happens there, it tricks your ear into expecting that G chord, because you hear that diminished, and then it resolves up. So it's almost like I tease the key of G, because in the key of G, the diminished would be an F sharp. But the easiest way to think about this is you have a target chord in mind, a target chord. So let's say I'm going from C to D minor. all that I'm going to do is, before I play a D minor, I'm just going to go down a half step, so 1 fret, and put a diminished there. So in this case, it would be a C sharp diminished, and we'll resolve up to the D minor. So C sharp diminished, D minor, G. And you get a cool like ragtime feel. C sharp diminished, D minor, G. C sharp dim, D minor, G. And I'll give you another example. We'll do C, G sharp diminished, because my target chord is A minor. Right, so again, G sharp diminished, resolving up a half step to either the major or minor chord, whichever one is in the key. So C, G sharp diminished, A minor, E. C says, wow, yes, you are very right. I haven't heard about answering questions before, and that sounds good and keeping you in the song. Yeah. And obviously that's very simplified because the question and answer kind of change as the chords change. Like on a 1-chord vamp, it's really easy to do the question and answer. Like if the rhythm guitarist is just playing a G minor, it's going to be super clear to you. What's the question? That's the answer. But as the chords change, you get a lot more options and it becomes way more kind of ambiguous and vague. But that's also the beauty of music, is that it isn't so straightforward, right? It is an art form after all, not a science. I can't believe you flat earthed me. I know, I did. You are a musical magician. Yeah, I know, it is kind of a sleight of hand. Music is pretty magical. I always think of Joanna Newsom. Do you guys know her? She's this like unbelievable harp player. She sings like Sandy the squirrel in SpongeBob. But her songwriting on that first record, that Milk-Eyed Mender, holy cow. And then you watch her live and she's just like, she's like a magician with the harp. It's unbelievable. Check her out. Joanna Newsom. I think I spelled it right. Yeah, so that's let me know, SC, if that makes sense in terms of how to use a diminished chord. Again, I have a target chord in mind, and whatever that target chord is, I'm just going down 1 fret lower, putting the diminished chord there to resolve up to that target chord. There's other ways to use it, because technically you can go up any, well, never mind. That's enough for now to think about. And then there's secondary dominance too, which if you're into that kind of stuff, you can search that. That's really cool. Great explanation. Are dim chords sometimes called passing chords? Yeah, I think so. I hesitate to say for sure. Passing tones in a melody are just tones that aren't in a chord tone. But a passing chord, I don't know that there's like a strict definition for like a passing chord. For me, I just think it's like something that's quick. So I don't know how to answer that exactly. So can I use it before I turn the root? I have no idea what that means. So can I use the diminished chord before I turn the root? I don't know what you're asking. Sorry. But while this catches up, the chat's always behind. Back to like, do you write the chords or the melody first? Typically the chords, and what I do is like, it's like popularized by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. At least they've done an interview on that, and a lot of people reference that. But it's how most people songwrite, where you just pick 2 chords that you know work, C to G. And you're trying to strum it with some kind of emotion, or at least I try to like give it some kind of feel. And usually I just kind of, well, there's 2 ways. One is to just mumble, right? That's the kind of Keith Richards, Mick Jagger thing. Mick would just mumble. But one thing that I like to do is I'll start saying nonsense, like not just nonsense words. And you know, it can be embarrassing, but if you're alone, it doesn't matter. But what's really cool, especially if you record yourself for a little bit, often I'll just kind of stream of conscious. Sometimes there's nothing, but more often than not, there's like a phrase or even sometimes it's just two words that really stand out. You're like, oh wow, if I was thinking of writing lyrics, I never would have put that adjective before that noun. And then I'll use that as like, whoa, that gives me like a weird emotion, or that gives me a scene. And then sometimes that little silly phrase, that stream of consciousness phrase, like gives me the whole song. And that it might not even be an important part of the song, but it gives me like a certain feel or emotion that then can, that just gets at least for me, it gets the mojo working. Like the creative juices, like I'll enter flow that way, where if I sit and overanalyze my lyrics, like yeah, sometimes I'll go back and edit for sure. And sometimes I do overanalyze. But most of the songs that I write that I feel like are my better songs, they're written in like 45 minutes. You just kind of get in that flow state and you like write it and do it. And I'll get back to you, SC, in a second. So I'll give an example of that. Just wonder why the man inside me disappeared the fears. Holiday hoping beside me. Can you come to grips with tears? And my face drew the whisper from the cloud, the smoke in the air. All that dreaming born forever, covered in hope and a bears. And another thing too about giving it actual syllables is the phrasing becomes more realistic. And if you have like a longer word, you like, at least as you get better at this, you on the spot create a new melody to fit the longer sentence. And so the whole thing just starts to gain weight right away, as opposed to like, oh, I have this melody idea. It goes la 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 la. First off, you're never going to remember it because it's too fleeting, but it still doesn't have character yet because you don't have the syllable count and the attitude of it isn't there. Where if I have a line, I'm way more likely to remember the melody and to be projected forward by it. Why whisper and wait forever when the bottle's only there? Why whisper then wait forever when the bottle... And then it's stuck in my head, right? That whole why whisper and wait forever. And it's like, oh, I could have had more words there, but because I didn't, I now have this long note. Why whisper and wait forever. And it's like, oh, that's kind of pretty, as opposed to like, why went bum 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 ba-da-dum. The same kind of melodic idea, but there were more notes, so it didn't have that nice accentuated wait forever. So that's my advice. Chords, and then say nonsense words instead of mumbling. Writing melody first is a whole nother talk. That is a great, I would argue, a more powerful, I don't want to say that because I do it less. But writing the melody first is awesome, and that's a different kind of skill set, but it's so much fun. Like going back and taking that melody and then reworking it into chords is a lot of fun. And one week we'll talk about melody theft, or rhythm theft rather, a little bit of both, but mainly melody theft. And it's my favorite project to do, but that's too much to get into right now because I'm already tired. Joanna Newsom is an over 9,000 hipster. Yeah, I know, man. All right, SC, you said, so can I use it before I turn back to the root chord? Yeah, so that's what I was saying. The diminished chord wants to go back to the root, of course. So 1, 4, 5, 7, 1, Think of the 5 chord and the 7 chord as the same chord. They both want to go back to the root, right? But that gets boring, right? If you're just going to, every time you play a diminished, go back to the root, like you said, yeah, you're going to have a lot of trouble using them that way. C, F, B diminished, C. That's going to get old really quick. So what I was saying is the more advanced thing is, and maybe if I write it for you, SC, this will make more sense. It's a half step under any chord, right? You can pretend any chord is your root. So maybe that's a better way to think about it. Like if I'm going to play C to D minor, right? Let's for a second just pretend D minor is my root. So if I was in the key of D minor, that was my root, I'm going to build a diminished chord right underneath that D. So 1 fret lower, C sharp or D flat. I'm going to build that diminished chord. And it's going to lead me into the whatever chord I want to go to. C, C sharp diminished, D minor. Right, that's pretty cool. So I'm giving you homework right now. Let's say your target chord is E minor, right? I want to go from C to E minor. What diminished chord can I put in between there to make that work? All right, SC, you tell me. All right, chat died down, y'all. What other do I need to go more into Roman numerals? Should we talk melody? I don't know you guys' skill level, so I can go into the melody or the melody theft right now. So there are, if you think of the Roman numeral system, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Yeah, you got it. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner, Mr. SC, E flat diminished. Very good. So I'm going 1 fret lower than that E minor, and I'm making it diminished. So it's gonna be E flat diminished. So I got C. Should go somewhere else after that. C, E flat diminished, E minor, F, G. So a half diminished. Let's talk about that. So it's a 7th chord, right? A 7th chord is you're adding yet another major or minor third onto your already existing triad. Let's go to the whiteboard, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the whiteboard and learn a little music theory. Share the screen. Share the screen. Brave browser. Untitled document. Okay, so we've got all our triads here. Okay, and you can search for this anywhere you want to search for it, and get all the different keys with all the chords. I keep looking at the camera as if you can see me. Now, and we talked about, I'll go down here. So a major chord is your root. Then you go up 4 frets, right, which is a major third, right, it's the same thing. Then you got your note. Then you go up 3 frets, or a minor third. And then you got another note. Now, that's your major. A minor is the opposite, right? You got your root, you go up 3 frets. And then you go up this one, right? So it's flipped. It's a minor chord, it's the reverse. You'll notice that both of the top notes are still the same. So C, E, G would be C major. Here we have C, E flat, G, right? It's still 7 frets, so C to G is still 7 frets. The top note is still the same, but the middle ones are different. Then you've got a diminished chord, which is both of these, right? Root, then you have your minor third, you get to your note, then you got another minor third, and you get to the other note. So in this case, it's C, E flat, G flat, that's a diminished. And then there's one other type of triad called an augmented. It's a root, a major third, you got your note, and then another major third. You got your note. C, E, G sharp. Ah, money sign. Cool. So a half diminished is where when you get into seventh chords, you now have another element. So C, E, G, B. Well, here, let's do it this way. This is kind of a long question, but a major 7 is root, major 3rd, minor 3rd, major 3rd. Right, so we have a whole another set of notes that we're dealing with. C, E, G, and then G to B is in a major 3rd. So now you realize we got a lot more options, right? We can stack all of these in all sorts of different ways. But to answer your question, a half diminished chord, also known as, AKA, a minor 7 with a flat 5. It's the same exact thing as this. You have a root, then you have a minor 3rd, a minor 3rd, and a minor 3rd. Is that? No, that's not true. I'm sorry, I lied. You have a minor 3rd, a minor 3rd, and a major 3rd. Look at me. Look at me. I just tripped myself up. Yeah. Because you got B, D, B, F, D, A, right? Yeah, of course. A major 3rd on top. I doubted myself. And that's a half diminished. A full diminished is something different. You'll just see it as like a diminished 7, aka a full dim. And that's this. That's a minor 3rd, a minor 3rd, a minor 3rd. And the reason that's weird, I don't want to go into all this, but this top note, so this already is a flat 7 in your key. This one ends up being a double flat 7. So it's kind of more like a 6th than it is a 7th scale degree. But now I'm probably losing most of you. But all I did was, so this is a diminished chord. All I did was add one more note to make it a half diminished because it sounds nicer. And it's, I think it's actually easier to play too. Oh, you can see me when I'm writing? Can you see both me and the screen? Oh, that's cool. Thank you. Thank you, Stevie. Oh, it's Stevie. How's it going, man? How was your Thanksgiving? Were you guys in Tejano or Babylon? Back home in Babylon. So that's theory talk. And that's what a half diminished is, Jay Bird. So the B chord is, another way to think about it is its half diminished occur more often because they're in the key. I forgot to say that. So in other words, like a B diminished is in the key of C, it's B, D, F. But what I just did was I added another 3rd, so B, D, F, A, right? It's all, those are all notes in the key of C major. So that half diminished is diatonic. That just means it's in the key. When you do a full diminished, it doesn't occur in the key because now I'm doing an A flat instead of an A. So that one's goofier. Sometimes more appropriate, but it's not, it doesn't naturally occur in the key. It doesn't naturally occur in any key except like a weird scale, right? It's not in the modes, it's not in a major or minor scale. You're not going to get that chord naturally or diatonically. Yeah, man, we stayed here, Stevie. My wife's brother came in with his 3 kids, which was awesome. I like hanging out with all of them. They're great people. So we had a good time, but Jane fell ill on Thanksgiving, and she's still freaking sick, man. She has the flu. So that was a bummer. So it's just been like nonstop with the 3 kids since Thursday. We had a good time, but I've got, got little to nothing else done. We'll do Melody Theft another day. It's too much. It's been 54 minutes. Is this helpful, y'all? I hope this is helpful. Because when I'm just talking to random text on the internet, I can't see your beautiful faces responding. But listen to this Daddy Daycare DVD by Mescoma, whoever requested it. Let's listen. This is hilarious. Daddy Daycare DVD. Oh yeah, Capo 2. Yeah, he's on a G chord. Yeah, this is fun. He's just all messing around with on a G chord. And then he does that cool blue note, the flat 3 with the pinky down, 3rd fret on the 3rd string. And then he even walks down from there. He's got the E, and then there's an E flat. So the 6 to the minor 6. There's so much you can do on a stagnant chord, right? If you're just hanging out on G, the Lord's favorite chord. Yeah, that's fun. Middle changes. Yeah, he's just going from G to E minor. It's fun. Cool. Neat. Very cool. Very cool. The Lord's favorite chord. What up, E6 EN? E6 yen? E6 yen? All right. That's all she wrote, I think. You're a whiz, man. Thank you. You're welcome, T. Yeah. A pleasure hanging with you guys. We'll do it again next Monday. If anyone, wants to super chat or drop some coin, always in the video description below. You can Venmo me or PayPal me. I would appreciate it. I put a lot of time. I don't need to tell you guys. You guys know. I pour a lot of time into this channel. And if you guys like it, if you have the means, please support. If not, you're supporting by being here. Yeah, Stevie, we got to catch up, man. Give me a ring sometime. You got the digits. Call and say, yo. Miss doing lessons with you. It's good to see you on here. Oh, dude, Connor. What? I always forget. I can't believe it's you. Oh, the 6 is like a D, right? Ah. Dude, I apologize. How's it going, dude? I know more of you people than I thought. Do I know Jay Bird? Emma, could you post a tab to brand new companion? Have I not done that? I can do that now. It's me, dog. Yeah. Sorry, man. I apologize. How have you been? Are things well? Things are good over here. Mike's music method. Let's see if I posted brand new companion. Someone was looking for Our Mother the Mountain, and I just spelled it wrong, so he couldn't find it. Because he got a word search. Because does anyone do web design? Anyone want to help me with web design? Dude, it's not up here. You're right. All right, thanks. I'll have to resolve it. Man, now that we got like a full house, I want to keep hanging out. I will keep hanging out if people are here, although I'm kind of sleepy. Pretty good. School's going good and stuff. Yeah. I know. I still have mixed feelings about your brilliant mind being in school, by the way, Connor. You might be a little too brilliant for school. You got a sharp mind. But I know that you're protecting it, so most people who are real smart, well, I shouldn't say most people. That's a lie. But some people don't know how to protect their intellects. Site actions, edit my site. Put up brand new companion. Brand new companion, Towns Van Zandt tab. Oh, I've got it all right. Just not on the website. It's called brand new companion, Towns Van Zandt tab. Let's put it up on the website. Wix is the slowest website known to man. It works, it's easy to use, but it is slow. Yeah, stay in school and do it. All right, I probably don't need to be doing this now, but I was just seeing if anyone else had any more questions. It doesn't look like it. I'm a little sleepy, so I'm just gonna peace out. Stevie, later, man. Connor, I'll catch you later. Drunky, and T, and Jaybird. Who else was on here? To all y'all, all right? If you guys are gonna be lame and no one's gonna super chat me, then I'm going to bed, okay? I'm going to bed because no one wants to see the monkey dance tonight. No, it's late. My wife's sick. I'm gonna be up early again with the kids, and I don't want to get sick. Take care. Yes, I'll make sure the chickens are locked up. All right, peace.